What is going on, everybody? It's Jets Central coming back with another video, and in this one I wanted to really dive deep and talk a little bit about what I would consider an A+ day one for the New York Jets in this upcoming draft. Okay, the draft is what, like 9 or 10 days away now. It's coming up. All right, it's coming up, and the New York Jets have got we got to do our due diligence on all these different prospects and make sure we know what we're doing. Okay, and by no means am I saying that if we don't do what I'm about to say, it's the wrong choice. That's the beauty of being or selecting in the top 5. It's like normally your team has a lot of holes, right? Your team has a lot of holes, so you can't really mess it up unless you completely reach for a prospect. So I'm looking at this New York Jets team right now, and we can go in a million different directions. But my personal preference, right? If the New York Jets were to go this route on draft night, on that Thursday night, late April 25th, this is what I would think is the perfect draft scenario for the Jets. A trade back scenario with the New York Giants acquiring pick 6, pick 17, and a future draft pick, whether it's in 2020 or 2021, what have you. The New York Jets trade back and acquire more picks. Now, with the 6th overall pick that we received from the New York Giants, they moved up to 3. We moved back to 6 and 17. With the 6th overall pick, I would love it if the New York Jets were to select Jawaan Taylor, the right tackle from the Florida Gators. Now, it's no secret. Okay, it's no secret that the New York Jets need help on the offensive line. Did we go out and bolster up the offensive line a little bit in the offseason or in the free agency period? Yes, we did. We went out and we acquired Kelechi Osemele. Amazing pickup. I love it. Yes, we are paying him a lot of money, but hey, it's worth it. This guy was a Pro Bowl guard. This guy can play the position at a really high level. So I love that pickup. But here's the thing, that was really the only, marquee move that we made on the offensive line. Okay, it's still a below average unit when looking at it from names on paper. Okay, so we got to get better on this offensive line. Also keep in mind, what are the top 2, I don't want to say the best players of the New York Jets offense, but really who are the 2 shining stars of the Jets offense? Running back Le'Veon Bell, quarterback Sam Darnold. We need an offensive line for both of those positions to have success. It also makes a lot of sense as well because, Jawaan Taylor's coming in the building, 6'5", around 315 pounds. Not only is this guy just going to be a huge upgrade over Brandon Shell at the right tackle position, but he's a fantastic run blocker. You also take a look at the, X's and O's. Speaking of X's and O's, you look at the system that he ran with the Florida, or where he had the most success with the Florida Gators. It was that zone blocking style of system. Once Dan Mullen incorporated that zone blocking system, all of a sudden you saw Jawaan Taylor's run blocking just go through the roof. You take a look back at when Le'Veon Bell had the most success. It was with that zone running attack. Okay, so it would be a huge upgrade. We're trading back. We're getting, a ton of picks. He's a system fit. He helps out Le'Veon Bell. Now, he's not I don't want to say he's a below average, in pass pro, because he's not. But I think when he goes up against edge rushers that have a really quick first step, I think he might have a little bit of a hard time with it. But I feel like as a whole, he still has a really high ceiling to get better in pass protection. He reminds me a lot of a Donald Penn, back really with Tampa Bay, where he's a really good run blocker. Pass protection, he needs a little bit of work, but he's still a solid pass protector with a ceiling, right? So he could still get better. You pair him with NFL coaches, you pair him with an NFL workout regimen. All of a sudden, you could see his pass protection just go up through the roof. He has the size and he has the reach to do that. So Jawaan Taylor at spot number 6 would just be completely ideal for me in my perfect draft day scenario. Okay, so shifting gears. Also, we acquire picks number 6 if we do in fact trade back with the New York Giants. We would also be getting pick 17, right? And of course, nobody really knows how the NFL draft is going to play out. So I'll throw out a few different names here on guys that I would love it if the New York Jets were to target with that 17th pick. Option A, right? If this guy's on the board and we're at spot number 17, this is the guy I want. It's Brian Burns, the outside linebacker from Florida State, right? The former Florida State Seminole. I've been really, really high on Brian Burns for quite some time. Being from Florida, I've watched a lot of his games and whatnot. And this guy is an explosive player with a really quick first step off the line of scrimmage. This is a versatile player. Reminds me of Dante Fowler coming out of UF, where he could play in a 4-3, hand in the dirt. He could be that stand-up outside linebacker in a 3-4 system, where he's in that athletic position, kind of coming off the line. This guy can really do it all on the defensive side of the football. Not is he just versatile, but he could also get after the passer, right? This guy had a ton of sacks for the Seminoles. And he's coming in at a position of need, right? We desperately need outside linebacker depth. We are keeping the 3-4 system under Greg Williams. Yes, we went out and we signed CJ Mosley, but he fills that inside role. We can still get some outside linebackers here and there through free agency, maybe guys like Jamie Collins and stuff like that. But all in all, this outside linebacker unit for the New York Jets is not up to par with an average outside linebacker unit of every NFL team. It's just not there. The depth, the talent is just not there. What better way to trade back in the draft, accumulate more picks, draft a position that he has. I mean, he has tons of production and he has tons of potential coming out of Florida State. Okay, so I would really love it if Brian Burns is on the board at spot number 17 if the New York Jets were in fact to trade back. So he would be option A. Option B would be DK Metcalf. Okay, you take a look at this wide receiving room for the New York Jets, and this is, assuming that Brian Burns isn't on the board. If Burns isn't on the board, I would look to go Metcalf. Yes, you could target cornerback. I personally, this is just if I was running a team, I really feel like you could get really solid corner play in the latter rounds of the draft. Rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7, you can find diamonds in the rough at the cornerback position. I feel like a lot of it's based off of, combine results along with system fit and how you coach them up at the next level. But in any case, really focusing in on the wide receiver position, yeah, we have Robby Anderson. He could take the top off the defense. Yeah, we have Jamison Crowder, a guy who's really shifty in space. He's good at catching screen passes and yards after the catch. And of course, Quincy Enunwa, just really a guy that could do it all. Almost that hybrid tight end style, solid player, solid wide receiver. But we don't have a huge red zone threat that wins at the 50-50 balls. That's what DK Metcalf is. Yes, he has the size. Yes, he has the speed, but when you watch Metcalf on tape, all of a sudden that catch radius becomes available to Sam Darnold. All right, when I watched Darnold last season, I feel like he was a little hesitant sometimes to throw the football. A lot due in part because we didn't really have that guy that could win at the 50-50 balls. I mean, Robby does a nice job at it for his size, but that's not really a strong suit or a strength of his game. You're not playing Robby Anderson, you're not game planning, as an offensive coach, as an offensive coordinator, you're not betting on the fact that Robby Anderson, just throw it up to Robby, he's going to go come down with the football. But with DK Metcalf, that is his strength. Okay, so once we get inside the 20-yard line, you could just start, tossing footballs up to DK Metcalf. He's going to come down with it. So like I said, he has the size. He has all the combine numbers, right? The vertical jump, the 40-yard dash, all that stuff. Really outside of the cone drill and like the shuttles and stuff like that, like the quickness drills. But really, we have guys like Jamison Crowder and Quincy Enunwa that really excel in that role anyway. So I'm looking at DK Metcalf. Again, if Brian Burns isn't on the board, I would look at DK. Now, worst case scenario, if Burns isn't on the board and DK Metcalf isn't on the board, then based off of need, based off of draft position, you can say, hey, maybe we could go after a Garrett Bradbury, the center from North Carolina State. I'm not as sold on him as most people are. Or you can maybe say, hey, we could double down on tackles, maybe an Andre Dillard, maybe a Jonah Williams if he's there. He could probably play some guard as well. But I think as far as draft need goes, New York Jets needs go, I think you then have to start looking at cornerbacks. Greedy Williams is a possibility at LSU. I'm hearing rumblings that he could slip in this draft. Deandre Baker out of Georgia, a lot, physical presence that could play in man, he could play in zone. Really brings an edge, brings that violent nature to a defense. He had a lot of success, a lot of production inside the SEC. So Deandre Baker's a guy on the outside that you can kind of plug and play with if you're the New York Jets. Greg Williams likes to play that, or likes to have those aggressive attacking style of players. Baker fits that mold. He's not afraid of contact, not in the least. Or even a Byron Murphy, right? A cornerback out of Washington who's best fit for more of a zone. I don't really think he's the best system fit for the New York Jets, but when you look at his athletic abilities, when you look at the team need, Byron Murphy could surely be in fact for the New York Jets, if we do in fact trade back with the New York Giants. So it begs the question, that's kind of my perfect draft day scenario, really selecting Jawan Taylor with that 6th overall pick, also acquiring that 17th pick and trying to target one of the positions that we have a need at, outside linebacker, cornerback, wide receiver, bigger wide receiver, I should say. So really, how do the New York Jets trade back, right? Because it's two parties involved. You obviously need another team to trade back. Here's the kicker. We need the Oakland Raiders. If I was the New York Jets, I would be pumping out fake stories saying that the Oakland Raiders are falling in love with Dwayne Haskins, right? You have got to push this false narrative. If you're the New York Jets and you want to trade down, you need to create as much smoke, as much false stories, false headlines, false rumors, false rumblings, whatever, about the Oakland Raiders picking a quarterback. Okay, all signs are pointing to the Arizona Cardinals selecting Kyler Murray, so chances are he's not on the board. But really, Dwayne Haskins, I believe that this is what I think. I think the New York Giants want Dwayne Haskins, but they don't want to trade up for him. And I feel like they went out and they got pick 17 just in case they have to go up and pick him. I mean, you have conflicting reports all over the map. It just doesn't make any sense. You have ESPN coming out and saying, oh, the New York Giants haven't done any work on Dwayne Haskins whatsoever. That makes no sense because that's obviously false. That's not true. Okay, that's just not true. If you're a quarterback needy team and you're picking in the top 10, but you did not do any homework this late in the process on who's considered by most as quarterback number 1, that's a complete joke. So that report is obviously false. Then you have guys like Matt Miller from Bleacher Report saying that the Giants are in love with Haskins. I believe the Giants want Dwayne Haskins. I think they just don't want to trade up for him. I believe that the Giants just want to pick him at 6 and move forward and go best player available. Maybe a Christian Wilkins, maybe a Dexter Lawrence at 17, a guy that could fill in that inside or that interior defensive line. So we need the Oakland Raiders to pump up this Dwayne Haskins story. We need the threat of the Oakland Raiders taking Haskins at 4 to scare the New York Giants into jumping the Oakland Raiders with the New York Jets at spot number 3. And there we have it. Then the trade would be initiated. So is it a long shot? Of course. Is it a reality? Could it happen? Of course it could. I've seen many mock drafts. Many people are saying that if worst possible scenario for the New York Giants, they will trade up. They will trade up for a quarterback. Now, whether that's to 2 or to 3, I don't really know, or even up to 4. Nobody really knows, but I think the New York Jets are a great landing spot because it's in front of the Oakland Raiders, but you're not giving up a major draft capital to go up to like pick number 1 or 2. So I think pick 3 it's an obtainable. This is a realistic trade scenario here. So I can't wait to see what you guys have to say down below in the comment section. Your A+ day 1 for the NFL draft. I mean, I know we're gonna have some people that just say, hey, stick at 3 and pick Josh Allen. That's great. That would be a huge upgrade for this team. I wouldn't hate that, not in the least. We could go with Josh Allen, Nick Bosa. We could pick Jawan Taylor at 3. We could go with Quinton Williams. We could maybe trade down and go Rashawn Gary. I don't know. We could trade down with the Redskins and pick 15. There's a lot of different scenarios we could do. Ed Oliver possibly. Keep your eye on Ed Oliver, by the way. This is a guy right now who I believe, I'm really starting to get the feeling Ed Oliver is going to be the pick at spot number 3. I don't know why, but I'm really starting to get that feeling. Ed Oliver to the New York Jets at spot number 3. Keep an eye out on it. We're around 9 to 10 days out from the NFL draft. Keep your eye on Ed Oliver to the New York Jets. So I'll leave it there. That's my perfect draft day scenario. Let me know down below in the comment section your perfect draft day scenario for day 1, of course. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, go Jets.